As a woman, what do you think is most challenging about being a man? The suspicion. It's something I became aware of when I worked in a nursery, and after work I went out for some drinks with some colleagues. I was surprised when one of them expressed fear over being hugged by the kids, because they thought other people might think of them as perverts. I couldn't wrap my head around it for a long time, until years later. Back in Ireland at the park, I barely noticed a guy sitting on a bench enjoying the sunny day. He wasn't even in the play park, the bench just faced that general direction, but a bunch of the mothers got together in a witch's gaggle, and before long he was bullied off by several other men. He was just sitting there. I don't think people in general even notice how isolating and awful that assumption of guilt is. I have always been one of the guys, and thinking about the male population as a set of potential rapists is unhealthy at best. I've always found men to be reliable, and while I understand that like any humans there are bad ones, I've always veered toward innocence. Now in the modern era, I don't know how to feel about a guy helping me because it is like Russian roulette for them. Sure, let's say a guy saves me with CPR or something else. For every one of the women like me, how many banshees are lying in wait to accuse someone of something fishy? It's gotten to the point where I wonder what I'll teach my kids if I ever have them. Something tells me my first instinct isn't going to be to teach them to help when someone is in danger just because of this atmosphere of suspicion. Physical accountability: women can run their mouth, lie, slap, spit, and punch without any threat of a man punching them most of the time. It's why they do it. If those girls thought that their slaps and venom would get a sincere punch, no sane woman would do it. If you're though, then you will get beaten for acting how women act. The actual threat of violence is tangible in a man's life as something to actually dissuade certain behavior. I mean, I can remember times that I have got between fights just because I knew they wouldn't want to beat on a girl, and it's faster to throw myself into danger than to try and talk. I've challenged guys, not because I'm particularly ballsy, but because I know they can't do anything without being the bad guy and getting jumped. Years back in China, I got between some asshole and my friend and ran my mouth, and all he could do was cuss me out. Even that seemed to make the room close and around him in terms of other males. Circumcision: I can't imagine someone risking killing me for an unnecessary permanent surgery without my consent in any situation, let alone to a baby. The lack of consent is a huge issue to me because it isn't like there's a time limit on when you can get a circumcision if you wanted to, not to mention permanently chopping off important nerves that completely change how sex feels and seems to make them take longer to climax. I just don't understand the lack of rioting in the street over something so scary. Expectation to die for females / glorification of male death: the only person a woman is asked to die for is her brood. Surprise boners: those look super embarrassing. I mean, I didn't see anything. Peeing in places where everyone can see your genitals. I know urinals have those little walls, but I can't even pee if I hear someone outside the cubicle. Update: added some answers and expanded on some points. Not anticipating care, I noticed this with my friend who likes to joke at my expense about it. When he leaves my house after dark, I tell him to send me a text when he gets home. This is clearly completely an alien concept to him, and he likes to send me messages like, to make fun, whereas to me, stuff like this is pretty normal. I guess it could be viewed as a childish precaution since we are both adults, but, I don't know. It's weird to me that it isn't the norm for guys since they're way more likely to get attacked at night.